Hi, happy Sunday. I hope that you're having amazing weekend. Restarting your system for the week ahead, and the next week gonna be very interesting, very important. At least for me, next week gonna be one of the transformational week for me. And I bet that's true for a lot of you guys out there too, because every single day is so uncertain that anything can happen. And right now, just living in this four walls kind of give an illusion that time is moving slowly. And that means like a week seems like a month or maybe even more. But when you look at things at one moment at a time or one day at a time, then things get better, things becomes easier. Like I was talking with my friends and family earlier, and I was telling them how in the past month I can see a transformative change within myself. And that all started when I created my own rituals, and specifically just journaling 3 pages every single day. Even though there are a lot of, I would say, things which I write in my journal which doesn't make sense, or it made sense while I was writing it, um, because it was just random thought. And but over the period of 30 days I've noticed that my thoughts are clarifying, it's refining, and I'm able to concentrate better. Yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, I checked my phone maybe once or twice while writing the journal, which is much better than the days before and the before and the before. So my goal is to become 1% better today than I was yesterday. So if I write a journal without looking at my phone, then that's a victory for today. And likewise, while meditating, if I focus on my breath and sensations more than I did yesterday, then it's a victory. So, 1% better is such a I would say, like, underrated skill. But over the long haul, over a period of year, you're 37% better than where you started. So you know it's it's a long play. And anything which gives you result in, like, shorter amount of time gonna last for a shorter amount of time as well. So that's one of the reasons why you'd see, like, people who won lottery, they run out of money very quickly as well, because they haven't earned that money. And you will see that people who become rich or wealthy over time, they earn that money. So they are able to sustain that for much, much, much longer time. So it's all about putting in the work. And when you put in the work, it's a race against time. It's not race against anybody else, because that will make you combative, competitive, and supplement and whatnot. But when you are uh, putting in the work and trying to become better version of yourself, then you're you're setting up this win-win situation, because even if you have like a worst day, the next day gonna be better. And on top of that, with that worst day, you're gonna learn something which you're gonna adjust yourself, and you know move on to the next day. So here to the long game. And I wish I knew this 10 years back, in the sense not just as an information, as a wisdom, because there is a lot of difference. I know about so many things, right? I can read, I can access podcasts and videos and whatnot, but it takes a while to click. And when that clicks, that's when that knowledge turned into wisdom. And throughout my life, I've been told about so many wise things, but that all seemed knowledge for me, but not a wisdom. And over my life experiences, I learned valuable lessons, and those valuable lessons are turning into this wisdom. And for an example, the crisis which I'm in right now, without any job, um, I know that right now, whatever I'm feeling, it doesn't matter a year from today. I know that, and I'm hopeful of that as well. And but that being said, I'm not gonna be living in the future. That means I'm not gonna be visualizing the future and just living in the future and being delusional about it. In fact, it's opposite. I'm going to be living in present. I will be experiencing through all of this suffering, so to speak, and still forge myself, learn new skill set, and transform myself so that when similar suffering happens or similar crisis happens in the future, I already have this experience. I know that if I can go through the rock bottom, then any hurdles in the future are going to be just hurdle. So it's very important to change your mindset and attitude when life throws you with crises like these, because you can either do two things. You can either cry over it, which changes nothing, or you can, you know, take the opportunity to learn something out of it. And since the life gonna be throwing random things at you in the future as well, this would be more like preparing for all of that. And that's what I feel meditation is as well. It's preparing for the day-to-day living, because we are surrounded with phones and all the other devices which put us into this phantom stress, because it's not a do or die situation. It's not a flight or fight situation. But whenever you get a notification, and I'm guilty of this, obviously, tend to kind of open that app, go through it, and once let's just say if I got an Instagram notification, I open that, and then once I'm on the app, then I'm just going through the feed, seeing what others are doing and whatnot, and before I know, I'm like in the app for 10, 15, 20 minutes, and sometimes it's stimulating. It's good. I typically follow people who like self-motivating, or people who put in like good content, like interesting art form, or hilarious concept, and that kind of seems like good way to spend the time. But that's an instant gratification, and over the long haul, it's not going to help. I mean, there are times when maybe just going through feed for 5 minutes a day, not a day would be a lot, much less, I guess. Even if I cut down to say 5 minutes for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, something on that line, then it will help me to kind of not seek out for that instant gratification. Because this is pretty natural. Like whenever I feel bad, instead of sitting with that bad feeling, I just go and look for the instant gratification. Um, like yesterday, I watched a movie instead of like writing a journal first. And while watching the movie, I was feeling fine. And once I completed watching the movie, then I felt like a crap because I didn't write my journal first. So just giving into that instant gratification may seem pleasurable in that moment, but once you come out of that experience, that could be energy draining experience, depending again, depending on your life situations and your personal habits and whatnot. So there are so many different factors there. But personally speaking, I want to get to the level where I don't need any of these instant gratification. It's there if I want it, but I don't need any of that instant gratification. So it's gonna take a while, but not as long as I think, because Like I said, just within the past month, I can see the changes, the transformation within my life, and that's just because sticking to the rituals. Just writing a journal, for an example, it makes me observe my patterns in day-to-day life, and then once I note it down, then instead of like being sad about, hey, I killed say 2 hours yesterday watching a movie, instead of that, I get like a new strategy. Okay, don't do that. Like next time when you get triggered to watch something, make sure that you complete all of your rituals and then reward yourself, because it's one of the pleasurable aspect of life. So why not do both? But there is a fine balance. There is a fine line between everything. And yeah, I guess with that rant, I'm gonna get started with hour-long meditation, and I'll be doing a combination of different techniques today. I will be doing Vipassana meditation, where I will be focusing on my breath and body sensations, which is one of the simplest and most basic form of meditation practice. And in fact, this practice has been passed on since the time of Buddha and or by the Buddha. So it's all about just finding a good, comfortable place in the beginning, at least, and then with your eyes closed, just observe whatever is going on within your body without adding any energy into it, without adding any energy to the thought, without adding any energy to the pleasureful sensation, without adding any energy to averse the painful sensation. It's just pure observing it. And my understanding is that just by doing that, there will be a stage or a point where you would be an observer and doer at the same time. And the both observer and doer, even though you are aware that you are the same but also different, so you will be in some sense non-attached to the things or the events going on around you, and you'll be able to tackle things better, instead of like running or chasing any pleasureful sensation. You would be indulging into that pleasurable sensation only when you want to, not when you need. Likewise, the other way around as well. Instead of like running away or ignoring the painful situations, you would be facing it and resolving those painful situations. So that's what is my hypothesis, and I gotta do this more and more. And if situations align correctly, I'm gonna go on a 10-day retreat again and dive deeper. Because during my first 10-day retreat, I met quite a few people there who have been practicing Vipassana for years. And one of the things which they mentioned was that during the second retreat, they had more insightful experiences. They went deeper into their practice and whatnot. And it's tough to practice meditation 1 hour a day, and just imagine if you got to do that 11 hours a day for 10 days. That would be like packaging maybe months of experience into 10 days. And I feel that's where you will also experience a lot of because you'll be putting in so much time and effort and energy into that. You will see the quick results, and it may not be long lasting, obviously, but it will at least give you an insight of what is possible. Likewise, I'm also interested in trying out the the dark retreat, I think. I'm blanking on that, but basically you lock yourself in a dark room or dark place for 10 days or something, and you're at times your body get your body chemistry kind of mix up, because obviously if you are not experiencing sunlight, there is no way for your body clock to tell what's day and what's night. And I've also heard some interesting insights people gain while going into those dark retreats. And honestly, I want to do it in a safe environment. Obviously, I don't want to like just go in the wild and do it. That's not me. I also want to make sure that there are good amenities, like people around who can like give me food or something. So I don't want to like starve myself, at least not at the moment. So this looks like a good experience altogether, because when you expose yourself to a darkness for a long period of time, and when you come out of it, literally you're coming out of darkness into light. And my imagination at this moment feels like it's coming out from whatever the painful suffering experiences you're going through into the light, just seeing the light and understanding that you don't have to go through that painful experience, because most of it is illusion. It's created in our head. I mean, sure, there are real painful situations in people's life where they are going through psychological trauma, and on top of that, they are also going through this lack of resource or lack of support or whatnot. And when all of that stacks up, a lot of people break down mentally and have PTSD or some other sort of trauma and do things which could be illegal or is definitely illegal, and they could even hurt people. So there are like so many different triggers which lead to the mental breakdown. And I feel that when you put yourself in this healthy stressful situations, like if you work out every single day and you put yourself into that stressful situation, if you do any of the other esoteric practices, like just say sensory deprivation, you go into a flotation tank and float for 90 minutes, you're putting yourself in this stressful situation. Likewise, a 10-day retreat or a darkness retreat or a breath work, you name it. There are so many different types of healthy stressful situations. So when you put yourself into that, like yoga is the best stressful situation or healthy stressful situation. So when you put yourself voluntarily into any of these situations, your mind as well as your body come out as better. Like for instance, when you do yoga, I did this maybe a couple of years back, and I used to go to yoga class like at least twice a week on the best weeks, and putting myself through those different experiences, through those poses, through that prolonged amount of exposure to the heat within the room, as well as just posing for one move and then holding it for a while, which is so much strain on the body, I can't even express it. So during those moments, you get to pick if you can sustain for say 2 more seconds, 5 more seconds, 10 more seconds, or you're gonna give it up. And when you start doing that, you first of all, you're present in the present. And when you push yourself to kind of stick with that pose for say 2 more seconds, then you're training your brain to focus on any one task for a longer period of time, to concentrate on any given task. And that's why you would see this commonalities between any sort of artistic form you do. Like when you stick with any art and you do it every single day consistently, whether it's writing down, whether it's comedy, whether it's yoga, whether it's martial arts, whether it's you name it, you would notice over time that your brain would be able to concentrate better and focus on one specific task for a longer period of time. And when that happens, you would also notice that how quickly and easily you'll be able to get out of that stressful situation and feel the pleasantful sensation after you go through that stressful situations. Something like metamorphism, where you're coming out of like a complete transformation, and that's what happens when life throws you different crises, and you would be able to have a stronger mindset. You would be able to push through that crisis. And when you come out of that crisis, you will be an improved, better person because you have already dealt with the worst possible scenario, at least, during that timeline. So there are a lot of lessons to be learned when you put yourself into a healthy stressful situation, and on the other end, when you put yourself into this pleasurable quick short gratification situations, then you're making your mind weaker because, like, if I'm chasing for this dopamine rush by looking at my social media every 5 minutes, I know that I can avoid the stress in my life just by opening up my mobile app and just get that quick dopamine rush. Like, from what I heard from the drug addicts get temporary satisfaction, and once I, let's just say, wasted 15, 20, 30 minutes on it, then I feel this drain of energy and I feel guilty, shameful, and when I get back to that painful situation which I was avoiding in the first place, it amplifies much, um, because the situation is still there, and if you don't deal with it and run away from it, well, it's gonna run behind you, and sooner or later it will catch up with you. So the best way to deal with it is to face straight on, face head on, and that would be the only way you would be able to uh, tackle the situation. And at the very least, you'd be, you know, you would either create a strategy to get out of that situation, or you will accept the situation. And once you accept and surrender, then it's not in your hands anymore. So there is no point in dwelling over things which are not in your hands. All right. So before I go on some other tangent, uh, I'm gonna definitely stop my rant and get started with the 1 hour meditation. And like I was saying, I'm gonna do combination of vipassana meditation and visualization and gratitude, and I was thinking about letting go, uh, and there is no format as of now. I'm creating this within my head right now. So try to figure out what would be the best way to go from one experience to another. And moreover, this is temporary, at least for a next week. And then I'm going to get back into the core Vipassana technique and build on to that. So I'm experimenting with all the other types of meditation because of some of the things going on in my life. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to set an alarm for an hour. All right. I will see you in an hour. thanks for streaming this hour-long meditation. And until tomorrow,